few people in the audience, and a few of you may know my old face. I've actually been to IH in Portugal, in the Torres Vedras school, a few years back, and met Diane. Now, is there anybody else who I've seen in the past? I know there's one or two people in the audience, Simon particularly, of course, very well known. Hello, Simon. My background is basically I was a primary teacher, teaching in the British School in the Cape, where we had 40 different nationalities, 26 different languages, and all very motivated children, the majority of them anyway. I wouldn't say every child is motivated, but I must admit that in my time there, I was teaching there for nearly 20 years, it's an immersion situation where we had children from all over the world whose parents were travelling and only had 4-year contracts, so they knew they'd got to put them in an international school somewhere. And when I came back to Britain, I thought, well, I'm not going to be working in an international school, I'll do my MA, and then I became a primary teacher trainer, so I was using my experience, because I didn't quite know what I was going to do with it, and somebody said to me, well, why don't you do primary teacher training? So it's opened up a new world for me, and I did some books here for Italy, called Zoom. Some of you may, I don't suppose there's many Italian teachers here at the moment, but some of you may have used it. And then we went on to books for Spain, with OUP, for Best Friends, and now I'm doing some books for the exams, and I know there's a lot of competition on this at the moment, and of course Anne has covered a lot of the material already, which I'm very grateful for, because although we didn't speak to each other beforehand, Anne and Sarah, we're linking up together, I think, aren't we? But Anne is more knowledgeable actually about the exams, I think, than I am now, because they've been fully revised, but most of our course books are still activity-based and link up with the activities rather than the exact content of the exam. It's the type of activity. Right, so we're talking about how we can take traditional, tried and tested teaching techniques in and repackage them. Well, of course, as Sarah said, what are the old traditional techniques? Well, one of them is testing, isn't it? And it's always going to be there. I mean, if you know anything about the curriculum in Britain at the moment, it's back to testing, isn't it? All the SATs at 7, 11, 14, 16, 18, throughout their whole school life, they've got 5 lots of very important tests. And tests are, well, part of our lives. I mean, how can you go through life without having to do a test at some stage? And it's how we do the tests and introducing fun, as I said. So I'm going to cover why there's still a need for children to take the young learner tests, how the tried and tested techniques of testing have been revised for the 21st century, and how you can use the word fun in the tests, and how topics, linking up with topics, I think is very important, particularly using the clear curriculum and using the hyperlinks which we've got on the internet. There's so much on the internet today. When you first did a test, nobody even heard of the word hyperlink, had they? I'm sure even the youngest of you, when you first started school and did the test at 5 or whenever, you didn't know what a hyperlink was. And probably your teacher didn't know what a hyperlink, or an app. And somebody else is talking about this this afternoon, I think, so that'll also put us into the 21st century. So putting the star into starters, the mustard into movers, and fun into flyers. Now, it's an inherent contradiction of terms that exams should be fun. Testing and exams are an established part of the education system. Now, on your chairs, I haven't had enough of the sample papers, but they're scattered around, so they're the new version of the sample papers and the handbooks. If you need any more, I would suggest you contact your British Council or your testing centre in your country. Can you hear me now? Can you all hear me at the back? Yeah. Could you not hear me before? Oh, right. Well, I won't go over all that again. Yeah, I'll just say, hello, I'm Wendy. If you didn't get the rest of it, then I'm sorry. But as long as you can see receive the handbooks and the sample papers at some point. If you haven't got a copy, then I suggest you contact your British Council rep in your country and or your Cambridge ESOL Centre, and they will give you the latest versions. As I said, Anne has got a lot more knowledge of these exams than I have, because we started writing the starters book and movers and flyers for the exams way before Cambridge University Press did, I think in 2003. And we followed the old syllabus, but even, I've just said this, even though it's been revised, most of the activities fit in with the activities in the new exam. Not all the vocabulary, as you say, is there, but they will possibly revise the flyers. And of course we've got the Cambridge starters, movers and flyers, and there's also the Oxford starters, movers and flyers. So there is competition, but I think ours is much more activity based, and always hopefully will be, because it's talking about doing things, which I'm going on to. Right, now, sitting next to your friend, I think you've been put in groups with a friend. Why, I want you to discuss in twos or threes, why do we test, why do we still test young learners? What tests and exams do your pupils take? And how do you test them? Okay, so can you sit Thank you very much. Right, let's have a little few answers. Why do we still test young learners? Anybody willing to give me an answer? Yes?
Because the parents want it.
Because the parents want it and the government want it, right? In Britain we've got this curriculum now, as I just said, in case you didn't hear earlier. We've got the special attainment target, SATs, which the children take at 7, 11, 14, 16 they take their GCSEs, and 18 they take their A-levels. But of course they've got 5 lots of exams in their life. And there's nothing worse than having to go into an exam room where you're all sitting in straight lines and it's silence. It's a bit like my very first French lesson. I was just saying when Sarah was asking us about old techniques this morning, how the French teacher used to come in and she'd say, "Bonjour mes enfants." And we'd say, "Bonjour madame, le soleil brille, oui." And then she'd say, "Silence, dictée, écrit." When we went to Paris, we didn't know what to say. Le soleil brille, oui. But that was it. And of course, I think the techniques of teaching French have improved a lot since then, I hope. Is there anybody who's a teacher of French here? Yes. I know they always used to say when I was working in the British school that they thought that the materials we had for teaching English as a foreign language was so much nicer than all the other materials they had for teaching languages. And I think we're very lucky in the EFL profession that we've got so many beautiful materials out there, and a lot are on the show at the moment. Right, what tests and exams do your pupils take? The Cambridge ESOL, how many take the Cambridge ESOL? Most of you in the International House, yeah. Any others?
Our own internal exams.
Your own internal IH exams, yes. Any others? No, nobody does any other tests from other countries. Yes.
The official school.
Sorry?
The official language school exams.
Yeah, from International House.
The Spanish.
Spanish, the Spanish state ones. Yes. Okay. A lot of you've got state exams, haven't you? That you have to take. The children have to take as well in their own schools. And how do you test them yourself? Do you do weekly tests, monthly tests? Do you do any tests? What's the system in the International House? Because I'm not terribly familiar with what you actually do for testing. Do you have, Dan, what do you do?
I'm sure it just differs from school to school.
Right.
We do end of term tests, but I'm sure every school has got different.
They all, yes. You're lucky you've got freedom. You're not restricted by a particular curriculum. No, and of course the British teachers have always felt now, particularly with the last Labour government, where they were trying to get them all, standards higher by testing them more. They didn't work, in fact, but it was very, very restricting. Can you hear this? No, it's gone off again, hasn't it? Right, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Yeah. I'm just going to have to shout, I think. Can you hear me now when I shout? Yes, okay. Right, okay. So basically, that's just a summary of what we've said. The effect of the expansion of teaching English has increased the need for testing in the 21st century. The age at which primary EFL teaching is introduced is rapidly being lowered, therefore more tests required. It's a movement that's having a knock-on effect. Secondary teachers now have the need to cope with classes of wider ability. Most of you are in the private sector with International House, so you're getting children of fairly mixed ability, but you've got small classes. It's the state system that has the biggest problem, where they've got huge classes of children where they're all mixed ability, some who are going to International House or other private language schools, and others who are not getting any extra English at all. Secondary school teachers now have the need to cope with the classes of a wider range of ability, and they need to know more accurate details. Right, let's go on. When was your very first exam? Can you remember? Think back, close your eyes. It's gone off again. When was your very first exam? 11 plus. Can you talk to your neighbour? Right, first exam. When was your first exam? Somebody said 11 plus. How many people took the 11 plus? From Britain, yes. Do you remember the feeling when you first went in? Yes. Long time ago for some people. Yes, in fact, it's not the 11 plus anymore, is it? Thank goodness. Yeah, it just goes on the SATs, and of course the entrance exam for private schools. Yeah, how did you feel, Dan, when you did your 11 plus? Can you remember?
Completely out of my depth.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any practice.
No, and this is the problem, you see, that there's so many practice tests now on the internet, aren't there? And so many SATs that you can download, that those parents that are really keen are pushing their children before they get the chance to take the test. And it's the parents that are putting the pressure on the children. Right, let's have a look. Did anybody take an exam like this? Is anybody old enough to take the science test? Yes! Well, you're not that old. Did your uniform look like that? Simon, did your uniform look like that? Oh my goodness. That's not you on that bicycle, is it? Short trousers. Sorry? Oh, cold knees, yes. Short trousers all winter. In fact, the postmen are still wearing shorts in England at the moment, even in the snow and the ice, because they're running from house to house to house. They say they much prefer to keep their shorts on. Right, and look at the man who's the examiner, his bowler hat. Right, quite daunting. If we ever had a teacher like that when we were at school, we would have been petrified, wouldn't we? Right, fortunately the cycle test doesn't exist in that form anymore. I remember 20 years ago children taking it in Holland, where there's a marvellous network of cycle paths, and you know, it's quite easy to cycle there because you just go in a straight line and it's flat, but unfortunately a lot of the children couldn't go in a straight line and they'd end up in somebody's garden. So we had to rescue them from the flowers or whatever. But no, cycle tests have changed completely. Right, now this is something that Anne mentioned this morning, where the exams fit in: starters, movers, flyers, the KET level, in case you don't know this already, you probably do, go up to flyers is equal to the KET and the PET. And then the certificates which they have, I think those have changed slightly, and of course they all get badges, so they'll get some acknowledgement for what they've done. Why tests before secondary school? Well, if the benefits of an early start are not to be lost in primary, secondary teachers must find reliable ways to start from where these pupils are on it. Yes?
Sorry, Wendy, previous slide, is flyers above ket then?
Equal to.
Okay, this looks, right, okay.
Yeah, okay. If you need more information, it should be in your handbook, which is the latest one, I think. Those came from the British Council in Bologna. And you can always actually look on the Cambridge ESOL website as well. But I did find that the sample papers are not the latest ones. They do give the old sample papers. Of course, many parents, this is where International House and all the language schools around the world are benefiting, are willing to pay for their children to have private English lessons. And this in turn is driving an increase in testing to satisfy parents, just what we just said, and schools in the desire to measure the achievement. So we were asked back in 2000 actually to write an activity book which would make these exams more fun. Now the word fun, as I said, is a bit of a contradiction when it comes to exams. So they were written for the ages of 7 to 13 to prepare the latest edition of the Cambridge Young Learners exams. But I was talking to some Italian teachers last night who are using starters for 11s and 12s. And they were saying here in Italy particularly that the book was, the pictures particularly, were too young. I said, well, originally it's written for children who are in private schools who are doing starters at 7 or 8. And we're not going to change the artwork, you know, just because the system here is not as advanced as it is in some other countries. But it's a bit like writing a book, you know, like a big T-shirt. It fits where it touches, and it's the same where with the exams. You know, they don't all, it doesn't fit all cultures or all traditions, but we have to make it a little bit sort of innocuous, a bit bland, in fact. And of course, I expect Hans found that some of the illustrations have to be non-judgmental and suitable for all situations. So, if you do find the illustrations a bit young, I've noticed somebody nodding their head there, then I suggest that, you know, well, try and use another level or use something which has got an extension. And I'm going to start going to show you some ideas for using extensions to the topics. Right. Let's go on. Lots of different activities like cutouts, photocopies, puppets, spinners, masks, board games, the usual. And Sarah talked about stories and talked about pictures, so it's incorporating all of those ideas. Topics, greetings, clothes, etc., the usual. I'll let you read those. That's for starters. Topics for movers, family and friends, greetings, etc. Let you look at those. And then we go on to the past tense, then and now, past and present. And then the topics for fantastic flyers. And finally, reviewing the past, the present and the future. Right, using activity-based, I expect you've all seen this proverb at some time in your teaching career. Anybody who doesn't know that proverb? One hand. Who does know it? Yes, everybody's seen that one. Okay, so doing and understanding is the essence of trying to have a bit of fun. And teaching the 3 C's, which is very important when teaching primary children. Collaboration, working together. Cooperation, making sure that they're working in a team. And creativity. One of the most important things, even with secondary and with flyers, is that they actually do something and make something. I was talking to this teacher last night, as I said, who works in an Italian school, and she said, well, when they get to flowers, they don't always want to be making things. And I said, I don't believe that. I mean, every child has got an artistic, well, hopefully, has got some artistic ability somewhere, even if you have to dig down very deep. And some form of creativity, and you've got to open that up. Right, using the CLIL resource pack, which is another addition to CLIL has become the buzzword, hasn't it? And using ideas to link up with the topics. This is where we get the hyperlink. Using those topics that I've just listed, and then also logging on. Hopefully they'll work, some of them. That's the CLIL resource pack, which is outside, which we were asked to write for the Spanish teachers, believe it or not, because in Spain, in Madrid, there's a program. Is there anybody from Madrid? Yes. Have you been involved in this CLIL program from the government where they've got to teach English through all subjects from the age of 8?
Not personally.
No, not in the private schools. It's only in, I think, about 400 of the state schools, primary schools in Madrid, for the last 6 years have been asked to teach English through history, geography, maths, science, art, music, PE, and I've been working with these teachers for 6 years now in Chichester, and they come over in the summer, and they haven't got many materials, although I believe there's a lot more on the market now. So we did this resource book, which has got, again, lots of activities. Which activities have been used? Well, as I said, we've got the stories, the songs, the rhymes, and the games. Right, putting the star into starters. We've got simple and successful. When I first wrote a book for Italy, the requirements were that it was simple, that it was cheap, and that it was easy to carry. And then, of course, when they put both the activity book and the pupils' book into one cover, they discovered that that wasn't very economical. So they photocopied a lot of it, of course. And then it went to Spain. Spain said, no, we'll have 2 separate books. And we'll also have a course book for the kindergarten, because they were starting to teach English at 6. So we had 2 levels before, and then another upper level for the 12-year-olds. It had to be tried and tested, or this is tried and tested, and available and adaptable, and relevant and repeatable. Right. Now, in your handout, you've got the colour wheel, which I've already done for you. That's on the first page, easy to make, easy to do, not a complicated activity. The children can, relevant and repeatable, there we go. There we go. In pairs, they can, what colour is number 9? What colour is number 2? Right, if you've got time, of course, you can sit and colour that in and put one of those split pins in the middle. Right, close. Okay, this is where we need Sophie. Thank you. Right, the first story, simple story.
Unit 2, Lesson 1.
Can you hear it?
Activity 1. Listen and repeat. 1.
Can you hear it?
Hello, Kim. What's that? It's a hat. 2. Pardon? I'm making a hat. 3. It's very small. Yes, it is. It's for my dog. 4.
2.
Okay.
Activity.
Right. And a follow-up activity. Where's the microphone? Follow-up activity where they actually write the words on a whiteboard. If you've got a whiteboard, has everybody got interactive whiteboards as well now? Anybody not got interactive whiteboards? Ooh, yes. Yeah. This is where all the materials now in Britain are written for teachers who can just put their disc on their CD-ROM on their laptop, and then in the morning they go in and they've got all the materials up on the interactive whiteboard. So that's the way education is going, isn't it? Food and drink, next one. This is an activity that you can use from the CLIL book. What do you like to eat for lunch? Choosing a healthy lunch. Let's have a look, see whether you can identify what they all are. We've got egg and chips on the top, chicken and rice, that's meant to be, hamburger and chips, and then jacket potato on the top row, meat and salad, that's meant to be sausage and vegetables, and then we've got number 4, fish with potatoes and peas. Number 5 is obvious, pizza. Number 4 rather, pizza. Number 5, spaghetti, and next to it cake, ice cream, banana and apple. Right, and they choose and make their own healthy lunch. Right, now this is the hyperlink. You can't see it because it's changed colour, but if I go on to this. Should work. It should work, I hope. When you write them out in yellow, they change, don't they? Change to blue, and of course I've got a blue background, so you can't see what it is. But I can give you a list of all the hyperlinks sometime if you need them. Yes, these things always decide to play out when you want them to work. A couple of minutes. It's always useful to get these organised before you come in. No, impossible. No, that one's not going to work. Okay. Right, I'll go on to the next one. The house. Right, a simple house in your activity pack or in your handout. You've got a house that you can make. It's on page in the middle of the handout. Using the story of Willie the Witch. Using the story of Willie the Witch, of course, which shows you all the rooms of the house and the furniture. Right, have you found your, in your handout, there wasn't enough to go around for everybody. This page, yes? 1 between 3, I think. If you want any extra copies, I think we'll have to ask Jo, actually. She might print some more out for you. Right. Okay. Can you do that? Can you see what there is to do? Oops, it's gone. Can you hear me? Yeah. Fold it in half. Yes? Give it to the person who's best at folding paper. If you've got Japanese children or Chinese children, they are very, very good at paper folding, aren't they? Fold it in half. Fold both edges in. Can you do that? Yes. This is a quiet activity, supposedly. Push the top corners down. That. Now this is the tricky bit. Press that down flat, open it up, and then you should have what looks like a house. Okay? It's that bit that's the difficult bit. See the teachers who are most creative. Right. And then when you open it up, you can put in all the rooms of the house. Right? And most children like creating a house. I remember saying to a Dutch girl, actually, whose English wasn't terribly good, although most of the Dutch speak very good English, can you draw a picture of your house? So she drew it. I said, how many bedrooms have you got? And her father owned an oil well. Well, you can imagine how many bedrooms she had. More than the fingers on both hands and toes. Right. So, yeah, she couldn't count the number of bedrooms. But for most children, particularly those that only live in a flat, of course, you'll probably get mummy and daddy's bedroom, my sister's bedroom, my brother's bedroom, or if they're all sharing the same bedroom, and then possibly the bathroom, the living room in the hall, and the kitchen down below. So that's a very good creative activity. Right, revision board games where they can play with the dice and count. And now we're on to movers. Those of you that have put children through movers. How many people have done movers with their? Yes, quite a lot of you. Again, user-friendly, successful, cross-curricular, learner-centred and effective, putting the muscle into movers. Right, and now we've got family and friends.
Young Learners English, Mighty Movers, by Viv Lambert and Wendy Superfine. Published by Delta Publishing. Copyright Delta Publishing, 2007. CD 1.
Pupils Book. Unit 1, Lesson 1, Activity 1. Look, listen and read. Hello, Paul. How are you? Oh, hi, Peter. I'm fine. Can you come to my birthday party on Friday? Yes. See you then. Wow, who are you? I'm John. I'm a big monster. How old are you now, Peter? I'm 10. Who's that? It's my cousin Jim. He's a dragon. Uncle Fred looks great. What's he wearing? He's wearing a long green coat and a black hat. Who is he? He's Pip the pirate. Hi, Sally. Are you a clown? Yes. Do you like my face? Yes, and I like your curly orange hair.
Hello, I'm Peter's aunt. What's your name? I'm Paul. I'm a monkey. Oh no!
Right, using cousin, aunt, they know brother, sister, grandmother, father, etc., etc. Right, so an activity where you can put the letters on cards, and I want a few volunteers. I'll give out the cards, right? 1, 2, back to the front, okay? Anybody who does that? Right, you're all teachers. I thought you could organise yourselves, but obviously not. Right, anybody got grandmother? Let's have grandmother. G-R, who's G? Right, R. You see, it shows that you have to have a leader, doesn't it? You can't just say to the children, make your own words. Right, even as teachers. G-R, where's A? Okay, stand in a line. Maybe if you stand along the front here. The next row seats. G. Right, there we go. R. A. N. What are they doing? D. Backwards, yes. We can't all read from left to right to left.
It's fine. Do you have a mirror?
Yeah. G-R-A-N-D-M O T H E R. Very interesting, isn't it? You ask a group of teachers to make a word. Okay. Any other letters? What's left? Father. This group tried to make father. F.
We didn't manage.
A.
I can't be everywhere.
We can borrow something now. F-A-T H E. Got an E somewhere? Who's an E? And an R. Okay. And then we had grands, didn't we? So we could put grand in front of grandfather. Right. What about sister? Sister. Who's got S? I. S.
There are 3 S's.
T. E. What comes next? R. Right? Now I've got a lot of letters there. It'll probably work if you've got maybe 10, 12, but maybe if you've only got 10 or 12 children in your class anyway, that's all you need. And you can make all the letters for the members of the family. I haven't got cousin and aunt. Somebody said sister-in-law, I heard. So we've got sister, we have to have I-N and law. They probably wouldn't know at this stage. Right, okay, thank you very much. Can I have the letters back? Give them all a clap. Right. Here's Sissa. Sissa. Now we've got a similar story of the children going to the cinema, and of course we had to put humour in it, and the pictures are all mixed up, so you have to work out which picture comes where. Do that one second. Right, 1 minute. At the bottom, they have the chance to write their own story. What do you think is the best name for the story? Is it Sally's Trip to the Cinema?
Lesson 6, Activity 1. Listen to the story and point to the pictures.
Last Saturday, I went to the cinema with my friend Mary. The film was called Treasure Island. We sat down in the 3rd row. I can't see very well, Mary said. tall lady in the second row in front of us. She had very curly hair. We watched the first part of the film when Mary said quietly, "Let's go and buy an ice cream." The lady said, "Be quiet." It was very dark, but we went outside and bought ice creams. We went back inside with our ice creams and found our chairs again. The lady said, "Shh." Then Mary dropped her ice cream on the lady's coat. Mary started laughing. After the film finished, the lights came on. The lady turned around. It was our teacher, Miss Green. She wasn't very happy when she saw us. We didn't tell her about the ice cream on her coat.
Right, and as I said, they write their own story. What title would you think was the best from the bottom there? Sally's trip to the cinema, Miss Green is happy, or Sally and the ice cream? Sally and the ice cream, okay. Right, now talking about weather. We're going on to what's the weather like.
Unit 5, Lesson 1, Activity 1. Look, listen, and read.
Hello, Sally. Did you have a good holiday? Not bad. Monday was good. I flew my kite. Where did you do that? In the park. What was the weather like? It was very windy. Oh. On Tuesday, we went for a long walk with our dog Sally. It rained a lot. Did you enjoy it? No, we lost Sally. It was terrible. What did you do? We went home and Mum phoned police. Oh. Later, it was sunny, so we looked for Sally. Did you find him? No, we didn't. Oh. After 2 hours, we went back home. Sammy was lying in the sun at the front door. We were so happy.
So it has to be a happy ending, doesn't it, rather than a sad ending. And that again ties up with the listening and speaking. Right, extra extension, particularly for those of you that have a bit longer to dwell on these topics. Weather cards that are in the teacher's books, and then going on to the CLIL activity resource pack. How does the weather affect us? The teachers that were teaching movers and flyers said that some of the children have got, a greater knowledge by the time they got to middle school here, and they wanted to use the knowledge that they've got in their own language, which applies in any country. That's the hyperlink, so that we can actually see, I hope, the BBC Learning Zone clip. Can you get BBC in your schools? Yes. When I first switched this on, it didn't seem to work, so I hope it works now. Then we let it download and it was okay. Apparently across the road in the school, they've got all the hyperlinks and they work very well, but this is a separate building, so it did work, didn't it, earlier on? Doesn't seem to want to do it now, of course. It's always the way, isn't it? Yeah. No. Yes, but as I'm actually running out of time as well, I think if we want to look at hyperlinks, I think what we could do is set them up outside and then people can watch them in their own time, because it takes a while for them to download, as you probably noticed. The climate one is children actually giving their own weather forecast. Doesn't seem to work. But I've been to different places where I've had to give these talks, and it didn't work in Spain, it worked in Paris, and it worked in Holland. But it depends on your school, actually, whether you've got an internet connection for BBC. But apparently these all work across the road, don't they? But not necessarily here. Try one more time. No. Okay, we'll have to go on. At the zoo, I won't play you the recording of that. This is the song that goes with it. That's 51. And there's a hyperlink for that as well. Endangered animals. But we'll just listen to the song. Or maybe, should we go on to the hyperlink? I think we're better because of the time. Okay, there's the 3 different hyperlinks. Can you see those? There's the RSPB one, which is more reliable, and the ABC Net. So, yeah, Sophie, we won't bother with the song.
Unit 6.
The BBC ones, BBC doesn't want to work. We'll try the RSPB.
So will you be able to put these slides on the Outstanding website so we can access them?
Yes. I think that'd be easier because I'm very limited for time and they do take a while to download. You see, that one. Yeah, in fact, if you look on the stand, on the Clear resource pack, there's a CD-ROM at the back that's got 60 hyperlinks on it. And it's got games, interactive whiteboard activities, all to go with the topics. And I think in your situation where you're teaching beyond these exams, you need extra material, extension material. And the Clear resource pack has become quite popular, particularly in private school situations. Yes, so look, there we go. All in Italian, non trovato. Okay. So, go on to the next one. There's the movers exam, odd one out, easy to do. Fantastic flyers, talking about experiences and events. And then we get visits to different countries. So if you've got a multinational class, how many of you got Egyptians in your class? Anybody? Many Egyptians in various parts of the world. There are a few in some of the international schools, but not quite so many in Italy, I don't think, or your countries. Question time, as I said, the past, the present and the future, revision, and a visit to the museum, talking about dinosaurs. There's activities again in the Clear resource pack where they make their own dinosaur from a cutout, and trying to find the names of the dinosaurs in the maze. And I think there's a hyperlink. No, there's the exam. Again, the sample paper which is on the internet. Look at the pictures, read the story, answer the questions. Do not write more than 4 words in each answer. Now when a child gets to flyers level, most of them are capable of writing more than 4 words, aren't they? So that's where we've tried to extend the material and get them to write sentences, get them to write stories, and get them to write something that's a little bit more motivating. Right, and then last but not least, the examiners and the candidates card where they have to tell the story. I think we've got just a couple of minutes. You're due to start now, aren't you? Yes. So I think we'll leave it there. I won't get you to look at that. You've probably seen it before. Otherwise I would have asked you to tell the story to your partner. But you can practice that one when you get back to your own school. Right, there's the useful addresses and websites. That's the cambridgeesolve.org website where you can get all those materials from the sample papers, etc. Delta Publishing, and then ITEFL. I was the coordinator for the Young Learners SIG. Does anybody belong to ITEFL? Well, certainly Simon. If you want to know anything about ITEFL today, Simon will tell you. He's sitting in the back there. And yes, past chairman, is it? Yes. Yes, and I was at the same time as you, I think, one of the coordinators for the Young Learners group. So if you want to go onto their website, there's lots of materials there. And of course the British Council, and British Council Italy, and in your own country. Right, and I must say thank you for coming. Hope you have fun with your repackaged lessons. And I apologise for those hyperlinks don't work, but it's always the way, isn't it? You get something up and running, and then when you want to show it to anybody, it doesn't work. Okay, thank you.